Okay, we're gonna talk about the chapter 11. How to write, how to read like a professor. Right?
Yeah. Well, like on the like that chapter, like when he was talking about the slave and how like when they she killed the child because of she don't want him to go through all that. Like I think that was saying like because it's really symbolic. Like that was like to something, you know.
Yeah.
And then like other examples to that would be like I mean I know in the book it said Egypt and stuff and how like all that stuff. But what do you guys think?
I don't know.
Um, I think that their violence, like starting with the chapter, goes in
It's
depth
like
and
Frozen. I need to get the book
are
out.
you good? And
You know we're live, right?
yeah, like what you said back to Andreas about the good man is hard to find. Um, with that being said, that I know that there is a lot of like misfortunate like differences between the characters' wives, like the grandmother when she was starting to go on about racism. I think that's being a little bit violent, not in a physical way, but like in a verbal way, from like judging somebody by like their color, by the race.
Um,
Yeah, I mean that happens a lot though. Like race, like the good book, like the good man. It's like that's actually like a real world thing though. Like
Hmm.
it actually happens a lot.
Yep. Oh, and also about appearances too. Um, at one point, the grandmother kept on like commenting about the misfit. Is that what his name was?
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's what they call the crook or
Yeah.
the bad guy.
At one point, like she would always say, "Well, we shouldn't be going to Florida because he's gonna be down there and whatnot." But
Yeah.
at the end, she's over here basically like not complimenting him, but just saying, "Oh, you look like a good guy," and like by his character, like you could be, it could be mysterious. It doesn't always have to seem like a bad guy or a dangerous guy, but at the end, he's like the misfit. So yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
what do you have to say about it, Amber?
I
Any
don't
comments?
know. Like, are we trying to like correlate the chapter 11 to the to the story?
Uh,
Um,
like basically yes.
Like whether like what kind of violence it was to like what kind of violence was in there?
Yes.
I don't know. That's kind of. I think it was just like I don't know what kind of violence it was, but it wasn't symbolic at all. I don't believe it was symbolic.
if you could like take
Well,
interpret, like if you could like guess what type of violence or in your
Let me try to
perspective, what you could,
find out. There's like a lot.
yeah, like what you think, what did you think about chapter 11 and like the good man? Like how can you say that they could relate?
Mm, I don't know. Chapter 11. Okay, it was all obviously about violence, and so was the story. The good man is hard to find, but
well, like you said earlier, I think it was symbolic though because like the grandma, like throughout the whole book, like it was like she was like, "We're gonna die" or something like that. Like, and she even said like she wore that thing on her head just in case they found her on the side of the road dead.
she'd be a lady, right?
Yeah, like they would know it was a lady. So, and honestly, I think that's kind of foreshadowing, like what happened, but like it's foreshadowing the violence that was gonna occur. And then when it happened, it wasn't like boom, you're dead. It was more like really involved in what happened.
Yeah,
And like in your perspective, like Amber or Andres, what is like symbolic to you?
it has to have like a meaning to it. Like, it has to be like, oh, she died for a good reason, kind of like symbolic, I guess.
Hmm.
I don't know. Like, it has to have a
Well,
meaning behind it.
I mean, not all reasons are good though. Like some reasons could be like bad, like symbolically, like
But then
live,
again, they all died, like everybody.
and they died because this guy thought they were like, you know,
They died
Because they
because
felt
the
loved.
grandma.
yeah.
They did. I'm trying to figure out all the different types of violence that this guy talked about in this book.
I had a question. On on the a good man is hard to find. You know when they got in that car accident, is that part of her fault because like is that
What?
considered violence because
Yeah, if you
she's
want.
the reason that they got there in the first place? Does that make sense? Is
Yeah.
that violence?
Yeah, yeah, it sounds yeah, because I mean, yeah, it was kind of her fault, and she really did like force it.
It's all her fault. She's dumb.
Hmm.
That's nice to know.
Yeah,
It was all her. She's so like it is like she, and then she doesn't even tell them that it was the wrong, like it was in Tennessee, not in Georgia, you know.
Yeah.
And then she wants to be selfish and be like, it's kind of like crazy how she was like, oh, I hope I'm hurt, so I don't, so like her son won't be so mad at her. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
When she goes, I hope I'm hurt, so like his wrath or whatever she said
Yeah.
won't come. You know what I'm saying? Like that is crazy. Like for her, for someone to
I
think
thought
that
that
way.
as a funny thing, but then again, like it's going back to its own violence because like she physically didn't hurt them, but if it wasn't for her verbally saying like, "Hey, let's go to that house up there. I know this because since I was little or
Oh,
something like that."
yeah,
It was
that makes
still
sense.
at the end her fault.
Yeah.
you know what she really sounds like though? She sounds like a vampire.
The vampire? Wow.
Yeah, you know how in the other chapter we read, like
Yeah.
vampires, like she took advantage. Like
Oh,
I
so
think,
she was like, the vampire is supposed to be mysterious, but not all the times their appearance is like it doesn't have to come off in a mean way. That makes sense.
yeah, so like she was basically trying to use them like a vampire. Like the chapter we read, like she was using her, you
Mhm.
know, using the family.
I liked what Brittany said. Brittany said like how like her grandma didn't physically hurt them herself. I mean herself, but she still like it was her fault they all died. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it was still her fault. Like I like what
Cause
you said.
Yeah,
her intentions were to get her ways, and physically, like she didn't get to like going back to what I said, she physically didn't hurt them, but like verbally, she took them up there first.
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
So yeah. And then anything else on chapter 11 that y'all want to know about? Because I mean, like we all said, there's different types of violence, and we already interpreted it with a good man is hard to find.
Yes.
So y'all have anything else to say about that?
Not really. I mean, because it basically speaks for itself. Like the different types of violences. Like there's the more like emotion behind it, or there's ones that are like you just in the street and boom, there you go.
Yeah.
Like the Egypt one where like they were killed,
Yeah.
but
I'm just trying to find like a quote or something that I could get off of chapter 11
yeah,
that, you know,
that brings it up.
Yeah, I was trying to look for that too, but
Well, I mean, in the chapter, I mean, it says like instead she's one of, in the words of graphic to the novel, the 6 million and more African and African descent slaves who died in captivity and forced march on the contents or the Middle Passage in the plantation, possible by their captive labor or attempts to escape the system. So basically, like that's like the violence that's like more symbolic because like they were taken to do work and they weren't even there from there,
agree.
and like
I don't know.
Well, guys,
y-
do we have anything? Is there anything else that we could just wrap up, or anything else that we could discuss about chapter 11 or a good man is hard to find, or was that basically it? Because I think we covered all parts of
Yeah.
what we had to say and what the intentions were, and like what the meaning was. It was symbolic, and then that there was a purpose slash meaning. So yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
but
did we cover all the key points that Ms. Mullins wanted us to like talk about?
Let me
yeah, she
check.
just wanted to talk about the significance of the chapter and she wanted examples from other books and movies and TV shows.
Okay.
So what do you think? What do you think another thing would be like another?
What?
Another movie?
TV show or yeah.
Um,
Oh, that's hard. Let me see.
let me think.
Like I was thinking about that, and
Is there anything that you could think of, Andres? I'll try to think of something. Books, movies, TV shows.
oh, the Mice and Men.
Mice and Men. Okay,
When
so why the Mice and Men?
because like oh like when uh Lenny he doesn't mean to kill the girl in the middle of the book, and at the end when he gets killed,
Okay.
like that was a more symbolic death because like he like when he died it was like for a reason like all build up and all build up and all build up, and at the end it's just they just ended his life.
Okay,
Mm.
that's a good reason.
You know, last night I watched The Blair Witch, and it kind of goes along, not really, but like this guy wants to go and like to the woods and find his sister, and in the end, like they all die. So I feel like it's kind of his fault because he wanted to go into the woods to find his sister, you know.
Yeah.
And if he hadn't wanted to go find his sister, like none of them would have gone and none of them would have died, you know. Like
Yeah.
even though they all died, he didn't mean for them to die. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of like the grandma,
Yeah.
but like less how do you say, less manipulative.
Yeah.
Well, but it was still in some point intentional though, because like if it wasn't for them pulling them out there, it would have never happened.
Yeah, and plus like the guy, like this happened like 10 years ago. Like it was like it happened a while ago. Like you would think like okay, he'd come to terms with his sister being dead, but he didn't, and he still wanted to go out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I think it kind of, you know, goes along with the story that we read, the short story we read.
And you said, was that a TV show or was that a movie?
It's a movie. I watched it last night, and so I was like,
Oh,
oh, it
okay.
kind of goes along with the short story we read.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that works. Brittany, anything?
I'm trying to think about a movie.
Movie.
Yeah.
Movie you watched recently a long time ago. Or-
I mean, any recent movies I'm thinking. Um, what movies have I watched recently? I don't know if it's exactly like the same thing, but have y'all seen American Sniper?
Oh yeah.
Was there like a purpose? I mean, they're like, cause if I'm correct, he was in the, what was he? Navy SEALs. Yes, I almost said Marine. There was already a reason why he was going out there was to protect his country, but I'm not sure if it's like gonna lead into what we read or like, cause I mean, it is a type of violence because they're obviously out there serving for our country. It's not like you go into the military knowing that you're not gonna be violent at all, you know?
Well, okay, so like I get that point, but so he goes out there, okay, and to protect his family. So the people he kills, he doesn't want to kill them, but he has no other choice because
Yeah.
they're harming his like brothers basically.
Hmm.
So
And
I mean,
I kind of do like I could give you an example. Um, whether or not like not how can I say it? Not every person in the military, and this is part of going back to American Sniper. Not every person in the military has to hurt somebody physically because in the movie specifically, that played American Sniper, he physically hurt, like he hurts people, but like that's not his intentions. But since like people are um, trying to hurt the country, he's like going back and reflecting on that, and I understand. But going into the military doesn't have to be physically, because it could also be verbally. Like, let's say you're in the Air Force and you're like, what are those people that are stationed not to go out there, but they could like fly drones and stuff like that, and they could physically like send out a command saying, "Oh, well, you need to do this to that part of the place." I don't want to like go into detail about it, but like,
but I mean, yeah, I understand what you're
Yeah.
saying. Like I see.
yeah,
So it
that's
just
what I'm
kind of,
trying to say.
yeah.
So yeah, um, any books? Um, well, you already said a book, Andres, and Amber said a
I don't know about any book.
book.
What I said like the last minutes ago.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of another book because I know I've read. What's that one book that we had to read over? Well, I read over the my summer reading.
Well, I read Frankenstein,
Frankenstein.
and that has like violence in it. Like his violence was like it wasn't. It's sort of intentional, but it was also because they drove him to it. Like
Yeah.
they didn't let him fit in, and he started mass killing because he thought that would be a way for him to fit in.
Yeah.
And that's one. But it's also Ember.
The Great Gatsby, I read, and
Yeah.
it has
That's
it
a
has
good
violence.
example. That's
Yeah,
a
I was
really
like,
good
Yeah.
example.
yeah, I read The Great Gatsby, and yeah, it has violence in it because he dies at the end, but it was kind of symbolic in a way because I don't know if y'all familiar with it. I know Brittany is because we read it last year, but like this like his whole life kind of has been a lie like to Daisy
Yeah.
because like she thinks he's rich and everything, but the way he became rich was like bootleg liquor and stuff like that. So like basically he lived a lie because like like the way he got money was like not in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
he lied to everybody. He said that he came from a rich family and they died, whatever. And even when he dies at the end, I feel like it was kind of symbolic because like everybody kind of already knew the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So he kind of like died like an honest man because everybody like knew the truth, I guess. I don't
Yeah. They
know.
all found out.
I kind of like interpreted it that way because
Yeah.
yeah, like even though like Daisy already knew the truth and everybody already knew the truth. I don't like I kind of interpreted it that way.
That works.
But yeah.
All right, guys. I think we got all to the main points, and well, we did get to all the main points, and we did give examples, background on like TV, movies, and books. So I think we're good.
Yep.
Okay. I'll stop the podcast.